Hey everyone, so excited to have you guys here with me again today. I am taking all of your live questions. If you have any, sorry, I was turning it on my iPad so I can see all of your questions. I want to talk with you guys today about print then cut. First, I want to let you guys know that live videos are not allowed in this group, but I do have admin approval, so we are good to go. I'm so excited to talk about print then cut. I see so many people having issues with it, and it's absolutely one of my most favorite features to use, especially for really intricate designs. So I'm super excited. If you guys are watching this now, it is Saturday, September 1st, 2018 at 3:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you are watching this in a replay, I cannot take your live questions, but please feel free to post in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is you have to calibrate your printer and your machine together so that it knows exactly where to cut. So as you follow along my videos, it can be a little hard to see my mouse, so you can look for this, and that's where my mouse is. So we're going to go up to our upper left hand corner here where by the canvas. We're going to click these three little lines for our menu, and we're going to go right down to calibration. And there are a few things that you can calibrate. So it's going to ask you which one you want to pick, and you want to pick for print then cut. So we're going to select that, and then you're going to print a calibration sheet. So what you're going to do is select your printer and print it. And I'm not going to do that right now so we don't take up some time. My printer's already calibrated. So what you're going to do is you're going to print it out, and you're going to get a sheet that's got some shapes and lines, and it's going to have a big black box around it. Tape that to your, put that on your blue mat, and go ahead and feed it into your machine, and it's going to print it all out to make sure that you get it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel that because I don't need to do it. I've already done it. And then we're going to start with a character. So what I want to do is just go ahead and Google an image. I'm going to Google something that everyone can do. I'm just going to do Paw Patrol. And I'm going to go right up here to images, and I'm just going to show you quickly how we can upload an image and print just the image for the camera. We have a question, which machine is this for? This is for any of the machines that can do print and cut, the Explorer series, the Maker. I will be using my Maker in this video, but you can use any of your machines, so it's up to you. I'm just trying to find I'm going to do something for my daughter, so I'm just going to pick Sky from Paw Patrol. And I'm just going to pick this image right here. I'm going to right click it, and I'm going to save image as Sky, Paw Patrol. And I'm going to go back to my Design Space canvas here. On the bottom left over here where it says upload, we're going to click that. I'm going to go right here to upload image, and then I'm going to go over to browse, and I'm going to search. I'm just going to type in Sky Paw Patrol. That's what I had used. And this is a PNG file, so the background's already removed for us, which is great. So I'm going to hit complex just because it has a lot of colors on it. I want to make sure that I'm getting a nice cut and a nice image. So now this is the step where if you had a white background, you could go right over here in your upper left hand corner to your select and erase tool and just use this, and you would just click in all of the spaces. I'm going to show you. If I click here, it removes that part. I'm going to go over here to undo it, which is great in case you accidentally click something or your mouse moves and clicks the wrong part. Then we're going to go over and we're going to press continue. Now you'll see for our cut image, there's no colors, and that's because it's a PNG, not an SVG. So we're just going to save it as a print and cut file. I like to do lots of tags over here, but because we're trying to do this quickly, I'm going to go ahead and just save it under Sky. Now because I just uploaded it, she will come up right down here, and I can click on it and insert my image, and it will come right up on our canvas. So what I want to do is I'm going to size her. Say I want to use her for a, let's see, what can I use her for? Oh, maybe a centerpiece at my daughter's birthday party, if that's what we want to do. I think that would be really, really cute. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to size this image, and you can see that it's 7.4 by about 10.7 inches. So if I was doing a regular cut, that would be great. But if I go to make it, it's going to tell me my image is too large because there is a size limitation for print and cut. Because with your print and cut, you have registration marks that your Cricut reads in order to know precisely where to cut. So I need to reduce my image to 9.25 by 6.75 inches. It can be no larger than that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to size her back down so that I can print her out and show you guys how she's going to cut. Okay, she's good now. So I'm going to click Make It. You're going to see this black box right here around your image, all the way down. That is your registration mark. That's what your Cricut's going to read, so it knows exactly where to cut. This is so cool when you see how it's done. It's so precise and great. So I'm going to click Continue. I'm going to select my machine first. I'm going to select my maker, and then I'm going to send it to my printer. I have it all set up. You're going to want to make sure you leave your bleed on. If your image looks kind of fuzzy, that's okay. That is letting you know the bleed is to give you a little bit of an outline of your image so that when the machine cuts, it doesn't cut too far into your image or leave too much white on the outside, which is awesome. It cuts really precisely. So I'm going to go ahead and print it. Sorry if my printer's a little bit loud. I moved it close so I didn't have to move too far around on you guys. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to select my material. I am using cardstock, light cardstock, just 65-pound Recollections in the 50 sheet packs. So I'm going to select it here, and I have my stuff all set up to go. I'm going to move this aside. I've got my maker set up for you guys. And I'm going to grab my blue mat because I'm using cardstock. And I'm going to go ahead, get my blue mat, and as soon as it's printed, I'm going to put it right on my mat. Now, if you are using printable vinyl, sometimes it's glossy, and read your instructions carefully because I know I've used some, and it says let dry for 30 minutes before touching it, and it will smudge. So I'm just going to go ahead, and you can see I'm just really carefully kind of tapping down my mat. This is a pretty new mat, so it's still pretty sticky. But I'm going to go ahead and feed it in. We're going to press the go button, and she is going to cut out precisely. I'm super excited about print and cut. Now, not only am I going to show you a character, I'm also going to show you guys a few other things that are really, really cool for using print and cut. It's not just you can cut out a character, you can make cards, you can do all sorts of stuff. So after she cuts, I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you guys what you can do with print and cut. And also, you can do larger than matte print and cuts. That's probably going to be the last thing I do in this tutorial, so stick around for that. But I'm super, super excited for that. A lot of people love the larger than mattes, but they do take a lot of time and it is kind of a lot of work. And sometimes you get a design that really is just too intricate. But you can do a larger than matte with print and cut. You can't do it on the app, but you can do it on the computer, and it is pretty awesome. I've actually done a few things. Christina said she's confused. Christina, if you let me know what you're confused about, I can help you a little bit more, maybe give you a little more direction. I'm not sure if you tuned in a little late, but if you let me know, I can go ahead and answer any questions you may have. Yes, you do. Christina wants to know if you print your image with a regular printer and then use your machine to cut. Yes, Christina, that's exactly what we do. You use your regular printer and then your Cricut will cut it out. You may have missed it, so I'll just quickly tell you, these black marks around this black box around your image is what your Cricut reads to know exactly where to cut. So because this is cardstock, I'm going to show you guys how I take it off the mat. I flip my mat over. You are welcome, Christina. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull my mat away from my image. I'm going to hold it up for you. You can see it cut out the little white pieces here. It didn't cut off my extra image. It didn't leave any white. This is so cute. I'm going to show you my mat too so you can see quickly. This is your bleed. This right here, that's your bleed. So that is why you leave it on, so it cuts your image precisely. I'm going to take this off so we can get ready for anything else we do. Lynn wants to know if you can use colored paper with a maker. You can. Not all colors. You do need a lighter color. I've done it with a brownish craft paper, the Recollections brand from Michaels, and it's been fine, but it's not all colors. So if it's too dark, because you have to read these black registration marks, if it's too dark, your paper's too dark, you can't. But you can use colored paper. After the video, I will respond to your comment a little more in depth and see what we can do to help you out. But for now, I just want to continue on. So I'm just going to click finish, and I'm going to go right back to my screen, and I'm going to hide Sky because I think we can use her later. So I'm going to use this little eye over in my layers panel here, and I am going to hide her for now, and we'll come back to her later. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to use an image I already have to show you guys something that a lot of people don't know. Yvette, I'm hoping I'm saying that right. You can do this with an Explore Air too, absolutely. You can only use white paper for the Explore machines, but you can absolutely do it with the Explore Air too. And there's also another question. How did you get the image so big with the print and cut? It is only, let me go back quickly and see exactly which size she is. I'm going to unhide her. She is a little over 6 inches wide and 8.7 inches high. Your size limitation is 9 1/4 high and 6 3/4 wide. So maybe she looks a little bigger because I moved her up a little closer to the screen, but you can get pretty big. The size limitation really isn't as small, I think, as some people think it is. So there's that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick an image I already know that I have. Oh, it's right here, perfect. Because I know exactly what I want to show you guys. So I want to show you with an image that I know will do it. So I'm just going to bring this over to the side here. Now we'll call it a pint glass. I'm going to make it bigger. And I want to add some words to it. So I'm going to go over here to my text box. And I'm just going to type in, say, Bud Light. That's what my husband likes to drink. And I'm going to do a center alignment. I'm going to line it up in here. I'm going to make it blue, we'll say. Okay. And then I'm going to go up here to my Select All tool, and I'm going to flatten it. This button down here in your bottom of your layers panel is for print and cut. That's what flatten is for. So what you would do is you would flatten your text to your object, and that's going to print it out and do all of that. And so you're going to notice here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so maybe you can see it better. You can see the lines through my image. So if I were going to print this out right now, it's going to cut the outside of my shape, the inside of my shape, and all of my letters out, because I don't have a solid flat shape behind my image. And so what I want to show you now too is, say you do this and you didn't realize or forgot that there is no solid image behind here. We can go to unflatten. Now we're going to look at this. See how it's still set to print because I had flattened it? This is a really, really easy fix. All we have to do is go ahead. We're going to switch this to cut right up here. And then I can go ahead down to this bottom right hand corner and click contour. And I'm going to just select the shape on the inside. And now I have a solid shape. So I can go ahead and I can go back up here to select all. And I'm going to flatten it again. And it will now cut out just the outside of my image. So that is really cool. I don't think we're going to print that right now because I'm going a little faster than I'd hoped, but I still want to cover some stuff. So maybe we can get back to that at the end. So I'll go ahead and hide it for now. And so one thing I wanted to really show you guys that I love is I'm going to go over here and grab a shape, and I'm going to just grab a square. I'm going to make it 4 inches. Now, one thing that you want to remember with print and cut, whatever color you are seeing here is what color your printer is going to print out. So if you just want to cut out on white paper, make your object or your shape white. And it will still cut the shape, but it's just letting you know that most printers can't print white. So it's just this is just a reference point for the size of your shape and all of that. You're still going to use it, but turn it white if you're using white paper. Otherwise, it's going to print out the color that you see there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a shape. I'm going to just grab a heart, and I'm going to size it down, and I'm going to turn it red. And I already printed this image last night for you guys so that I can show you exactly what's going to happen. We don't have to spend too much time printing and all of that stuff. So I'm going to just type out I love you, and I want to use the curved feature. So if you haven't used the curved text feature yet, I only have one line of text right here, so I can use the curved text. I'm going to go right up here, and I'm going to move it. Oh, that's a little too much because I want it to kind of curve around the heart. I think that's really cute. So I'm going to put it right up here. I'm going to move my heart down a little more, size it down. And then I'm going to put you on the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the curved text again. And I'm going to go the opposite way to the left so that it curves up. And I might have to size this down a little. No, okay. Now say that I wanted to cut the heart out of my shape. If I do select all and I flatten it, that flattens and compresses it into one image. So if I go to make it, you're going to see how it looks. But this is how it's going to print. The heart is still going to be red, and it's not going to cut it out because I flattened the image all together. That's one compressed image. So what I'm going to do is cancel this, and I'm going to go back and show you guys what we can do. I'm going to unflatten my image. I'm going to go down to the bottom of my layers panel to do that. And then I'm going to take, I'm going to select all up here at the top of my screen. And then I'm going to go over to my layers panel. While holding the control key on my keyboard, I'm going to deselect the heart. And then I'm going to go down and flatten the words and the shape together. And then while I still have it selected in my layers panel, I'm going to hold the control key and select the heart. You could go back and do select all, but it's up to you guys. I'm going to the heart went to the back. So I'm going to go up to my arrange tool, and I'm going to move it to the front. And then we'll just do select all, and we will attach. Because we already have this flattened image, if we attach the heart, you're going to see it. And you can leave it red, you can turn it white. I would turn it white. I'm going to actually go back. Pat, I see that the video is frozen for you. I hope it's not frozen for everyone, but if it is, this video will be live for you guys to view afterwards. So I hope that didn't. So what I'm going to do is detach, and I'm going to turn this heart white. So you won't be able to see it, but if we attach the heart to the flattened set, when we go to make it, it will cut out the heart because we attached it to the flattened set. That way it knows that we want to cut that out. You can also slice it beforehand, but you can attach it afterwards, and you're going to get the same effect. All right, so another thing that I want to show you guys is if you want to do a card and add a score line. So I'm going to go to a shape. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to just do, say, about 6 inches wide by 8 inches high. And I'm going to zoom out for you guys so you can see it. You can zoom in and out in the bottom left-hand corner over here. And I'm going to turn this white. And I forgot to unlock my dimensions up here, so I'm going to go back and change that. Okay, so I am going to go ahead. I'm just going to add some text. And what I like to do with this, because if you want to add a score line, which who doesn't want to add a score line when doing a card, obviously that is what is always the best to do. I'm not going to use my align tools right now, so I'm almost done with this part, and then I want to cover, print, then cut. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. But what I want to do is then add, I'm going to go over to my shapes. That's where you can find your score lines if you've never used one before. We're going to add in a score line. And because my image is 6 inches wide. I'm going to change it to 6 inches. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it so that it fits in the middle of my card. All right, so what I'm going to do, this is how I like to do it with my score lines. I'm going to hide the score line in my layers panel. I'm going to go up here to select all, and I'm going to flatten. And then I'm going to unhide my score line from my layers panel. I'm going to arrange and bring it to the front so that we can see it. And then I'm going to select all and attach. All right, so now when we go to make it, we see our registration marks, and if I go to continue, it's going to print it and make sure your scoring tool is in your machine, and then it will score and then it will cut. But it's not going to cut all of the letters and everything out too. I do want to show you guys quickly. If I send to printer, because it's flattened, you can see that my letters look really nice, even with the bleed on. I'm going to go back quickly, and I am going to just attach my whole image. I'm going to detach it, and then I'm going to unflatten this set, and I'm going to select all and attach it. I want to show you guys just what the bleed looks like. So if your image is fuzzy and it does look fuzzy, then you means you missed a step somewhere and you want to go back. It's a little hard to tell with this, but sometimes you'll see that your letters are a little fuzzy or a little blurred. That's your bleed. So maybe you missed a step and you want to go back and double check on that. All right, so really quickly, I'm just going to select all and get rid of this. I'm going to go back to my layers panel and unhide my sky. I'm going to make her big. I'm going to zoom out a little more so that we can go ahead and see, make her really big. Say you want to make her 27 inches tall. That's way too big for print and cut. So we can slice her apart. Now again, this is not available on the app. This feature will only be on the computer. So if you're trying to slice a print and cut image on the app, it will all turn gray, and just switch to your computer and you'll be able to do it. So now what we want to do is go over to our shapes. I'm going to grab a square. And now because we have our print and cut size limitations, I'm going to unlock this, and I'm going to make my square. I'm going to make it 9 inches by, we're going to do wide first. We're going to do it 6.5 inches wide by 9 inches tall. Now I know that our print and cut is a little bit bigger than that, but I always like to leave it just a little bit under so that I can ensure everything is going to fit well and I didn't slice the whole image apart and then find out that I missed something. So I'm going to go ahead into the top of my layers panel here, and I'm going to duplicate the square a bunch of times because we're going to need a lot of them and it saves time in the end. I'm going to go over and I'm going to line this up. I'm going to use the Control key on my keyboard and select sky. So you'll see that I have this in my layers panel. I have the square selected and sky selected, only those two layers. And then I'm going to go down to my layers panel. I'm going to slice it up, and I'm going to just remove the gray pieces that we don't need here. And you'll see just this little part of her was cut out. When doing this, I really like to make sure, I like when it does this after I slice the first time because I can kind of line it up a little better from the back. But I like to make sure that where I'm slicing stuff up, it's going to look nice when you piece it back together. Jen, let me see if I can see your whole question. I am not able to see the whole thing. I will get back to you after this video because I can't see your whole question. Let me see. Hold on a second here. Lisa, I believe you're on with me. Jen asked a question and I can't see it. If you could go ahead and send that to me. If not, Jen, I'll get back to you right afterwards. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the Control key, make sure that I have both my square and my image selected, and I'm just going to keep slicing it up. Once I slice, I like to move it back to the right, so it's kind of exactly where it is. I like to leave a little bit of a gap in between so that I can see. This is really easy because it's print and cut. It's pretty clear what pieces go back together. But just in case, this is just still how I like to do it. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep slicing it up. Now this is really great. I really love to do larger than mats, but I usually layer a lot of cardstock. And some people don't like to do that. It's harder sometimes to find a variety of cardstock and all the colors that you need. Whoops, I'm going to undo that. I missed a piece here, so I'm going to go back a few times. But sometimes you can't find all the cardstock colors that you need and whatever. So the print and cut option is a great one for print and cut, but you, yeah, I missed a piece. You don't have to do this. It's a lot of ink, so it's not always the best option, but for some people it's just much easier. And if you're only doing one or two, it can be easier. So I'm just going to, oh my, there it is. I'm going to move my square up a little more. I'm going to make sure everything's selected, and then you just go ahead and you keep slicing all of these pieces. You can just drag and drop around both. You're just going to keep slicing all of these pieces until you have all of the layers taken apart, and then you print them all and put them back together. So it's just like a regular larger than mat if you've ever done one or if you've seen it. It's just using the print and cut feature so that, I mean, Sky you could make into an SVG or find one. This image that I'm using here, for any of you who may not know who Sky is, but I really do have some images, stuff that my husband wants sometimes, and the details are really, really intricate, and as hard as I may try, it's really hard to pull it apart into a workable file for cutting, or it has really tiny pieces. So print and cut is a really great alternative for that. And if you do want it larger, this is an option. You can do larger than mat, and that's a great way to do it. So I'm just gonna hide this big piece here. You guys don't need to watch me slice this all apart. We're gonna go over to make it, and you can go ahead and see it's going to do all of the images. Now, because it is a PNG and I did make it so big, you can see it's a little bit blurry in some places, especially around her eyes, but that's just because it's a PNG file and I made it so big. That's why SVGs are great, because you can scale them up and down and you're really not losing the resolution and the pixelation. So it doesn't look as pixelated here, but if I zoom in on my canvas, actually let me select all these pieces and move it over. So if I zoom in on my canvas, we'll probably see a little more of this pixelation. Yeah, we can see it now. I always zoom out when I'm doing something really large so I can see it better, but you can go ahead and you can see this pixelation. So you can try and find an image with a better resolution if you're trying to do this, but either way, it really is a great tool all around. Print and cut is so awesome with the versatility of everything that you can do with it, from cards to full-size images, really to anything. It is really such an awesome tool. So I hope that you guys have learned a lot today. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments of this post when this video is done, and I will be sure to get back to you as soon as I can and answer any of your questions. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to doing this again if I'm allowed to. So thank you so much for watching.